won the other night, is in second spot. In third is 12X Rick Unger. As the battle continues on, Ronnie Schumann is in fourth. And Doug Wolfgang. We've gone 19 laps of this 25-lap race. It's number one. As you see him on your screen, Sammy Swindell into first place out of Bartlett, Tennessee. Being closely chased by car number 11, Steve Kinzer. Ronnie Schumann is in third. Rick Unger in fourth. Doug Wolfgang in fifth. Richard Lupo in sixth position. Now for the 20th time to come by the start-finish line. Sammy Swindell in first. Number 11, Steve Kinzer in second place. The lead continues to stay the same in the top four cars. As this A feature is whistling down quickly. A good shot of our leader, Sammy Swindell, working his way through turns 1 and 2. Swindell works his way down the back straight as he tries to stretch his room out on Steve Kinzer. Kinzer at one time had the lead, but there's Swindell racing past the start-finish line after 22 laps. We've got just 3 laps remaining in this A feature here from Oklahoma City. Now we've got a problem with our leader. Swindell spins off the track. His car over on the back straight with a little bit of a flash fire, but Swindell in the lead. No, in trouble. His car off on the back straight. A good shot of him there on your screen. Our leader for so many laps. And Gary, what happened to him there?
I really don't know. There's a little bit of engine problem. He may have had one of the oil lines or something may have come off. But remember back in April, Swindell had the lead and he spun out. Then he came back and he had an engine problem. Just isn't a good year for Sammy here at the Oklahoma Fairgrounds.
Well, a good shot of Sammy Swindell, who had things going his way after he grabbed the lead on the start of this A feature. He took it on lap 16. As we look back, it was Rick Unger holding on to the lead for the first 10 laps. Then Steve Kinzer, who is now our current leader in car number 11, held the lead from 11 through 15, and then Swindell in car number 1 grabbed the lead. So you continue to look at close range as Sammy Swindell off into the dark there. You can see the cars going by in the back straight. Our leader is car number 11. A good shot of him there on your screen. Steve Kinzer out of Bloomington, Indiana. Steve Kinzer, who won the last time out. In his last 2 starts, he had a win at Lawton the other night, and then he was 5th down in Dallas. So they'll come around slowly. We have completed 22 laps of this 25-lap A feature main event here in Oklahoma City. We hope you're enjoying it here on Cox Cable Channel 19. Exciting World of Outlaws racing, and there you see Sammy Swindell, the old Milwaukee Bear, car number 1 out of Bartlett, Tennessee, being given a push by one of the many trucks out here tonight, assisting the drivers. And Swindell obviously has to be disappointed, having things his own way, starting to stretch it out a bit on Steve Kinzer. And Gary, all of a sudden, things went wrong back in the back straight.
Typical of racing. They say a race is never over to the checkered flag. You see so many fans will start get up and leave with a few laps to go. And the old cliche comes true time and time again. You have to go the full distance and be out front at that time.
Well, I think what's interesting, too, is we look farther back in the pack. Drivers like our winner the last time around, Brad Doty, really has not, even though he started in the 4th row, hasn't shown much yet in this A feature.
Brad did, the car just really, he knew before the race, they got the car running, and he's doing very good, but it's just not quite right when what Brad really wants to be up front running. So it's just one of those things. They're shipping a new car in. He's supposed to be receiving it in a couple of days, and they're going to do some work. But in the meantime, he's just trying to make do with what he's got.
Well, as we check down the field as they go by one more time. And it's Steve Kinzer out of Bloomington, Indiana, in the lead in car number 11. He leads the pack as he starts to go out in second place. His car number 21X, Ronnie Schumann. And they pick up the pace, and here we go. They look for the green flag. Out in front, Steve Kinzer, our leader out of Bloomington, Indiana, looking for a second win in the last 2 nights. They all race into turn number 1. Kinzer with the lead down the backstretch, starts to stretch it out a little bit. Kinzer holding on as we come by for the 23rd time. Ronnie Schubin at 21X, 2 cars back. Schubin at 21X has got a long way to go, as you can see on the backstretch from our leader. Now as we pick him up into turn number 4, here comes our leader with, he'll be getting the white flag as he comes by. Steve Kinzer as he heads off into turn number 2. Good shot of him there in the lead. As we get set for the checkered flag, we've got problems in turn number 1. End over end action. 2 or 3 cars going up over the guardrail. All of a sudden, with 1 lap remaining, the red flag comes out. This race is stopped. We had a whole bunch of cars in turn number 1. It looks like 3 or 4 cars are involved. So it looked like we were getting away with a clean night of racing action with not too much damage happening. All of a sudden, 3 or 4 cars went off into turn number 1, and immediately the starter was reaching for the checkered flag. He picked up the red flag instead, and the race is immediately stopped, as you can see on your screen. A good shot there of Bobby Allen's car in car number 1A. Looks like it's Brad Doty, who our winner in April. You can see his wing not horizontal but vertical right now. As we continue to look at the action in turn number 1.
Well, tough ending for Brad Doty of the night's action. Actually, he was sort of in the aftermath of it all. He sort of spun and got up into the guardrail trying to miss everything else, and just really couldn't get out of the way.
Gary, it looks like, too, there could be a car that had gone over the guardrail. So, obviously, as we try to get a closer view of it, it was Brad Doty who looks like may have gone over the guardrail. That's not official. We're trying to check that out. Also involved is Terry Doss. He started flipping, the native out of Tulsa. As we check down, as we look a little bit closer, Shane Carson, who was the man who has helped put on the race, is, of course, out of the race car. He did not go very far in this feature. He is standing down along the start-finish line talking to some of the officials. But as we see the menagerie of cars and support vehicles, we look off into turn number 1. The fans still on their feet here. People start rushing down into turn number 1. And, Gary, this is something you really hate to see, especially with 1 lap to go.
Yeah, everybody really was gunning hard. They had the yellow flag with 3 laps to go. And this is the drivers. They see this as a chance. Maybe they were straight away behind somebody. All of a sudden, they're right up on their tail, and they think, boy, I can gain 1, 2, maybe 3 positions in these last few laps. So a lot of times late in a race, when you have a yellow flag, you end up with things like this because you get a bunch of the eager drivers all together. And before, where they were spread out, now they're all together in a pack. What this will do is really make 1 lap left to run. The race is not over. And the crews now can make some slight adjustments to the cars and maybe change things around a little bit. And maybe Steve Kinzer is not home free. He was just a matter of seconds from receiving the checkered flag, well in command of the race. Last chance for maybe Ron Schumann, Doug Wolfgang, or some of the others.
Good shot on the screen of car number 56, Terry Doss out of Tulsa, as he is being towed back into the pits. You can see the front left damage on the car. The suspension has been obviously tweaked, and you can see the car and also the wing upstairs on top of the race driver compartment as the tow trucks bring it off into turn number 4, and you get a shot of the wings, a good shot there of all the other cars. And they continue to sort out all the cars. There was an unofficial report that one of the cars went over the guardrail, and 2 or 3 cars, it looked like, went end over end. It looked like about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 cars in turn number 1 with a problem.
Well, actually, it looked like there were about 3 cars that actually got over. 1 car had flipped, 2 others got tangled up trying to miss and ended up going over, and then some of the other guys just spun, and then they just resulted in quite a few cars being caught down there. Some of them are a matter of just spun and just to miss the running into somebody else.
Well, not only is a situation that you mentioned where the drivers are very competitive. You know, sure, they're talking about dollars. You know, the dollars are different between 4th and maybe 9th spot in the A feature, but these drivers are naturally competitive, and that's why they went hell-bent for leather off into turns 1 and 2.
Well, it's another matter of the point fund for the World of Outlaws. Several of the drivers running up the front are regular competitors on the circuit. Right now, there's a matter out of over 3,000 points. The difference going into this race between 1st and 2nd was 10 points. So one position, just one spot, may be enough at the end of the year to maybe the difference between possibly earning $25,000 for the championship team, for the car owner and driver, and the 2nd place payoff. So you're talking, besides the money here tonight, the overall. And these guys, several times, the title's gone down to the last race, the last 2 races. And it's a matter, if you look on a whole season, one position in this race, another position in that race, and you can talking about quite a few points. So everybody, they all want that one more.
Well, the leader, you can see them continually to work on his car. We'll be back with more racing action and finish up this main feature right after this.
At Adams Chevrolet, we do things just a little differently. Take our used cars and trucks, for instance. We keep only the cream of the crop for you, our customer. We keep over 100 used cars and trucks in inventory at all times, and we wouldn't ask you to come see them if we weren't absolutely sure that they meet the standards that you expect. So do yourself a favor. Come to Adams Chevrolet and experience a difference. That's Adams Chevrolet, just off I-35 in Norman.
Are you looking for quality tires at low discount prices with friendly service to match? Well, Ken's Tire and Auto Service at 4601 South Penn is your place to go. Their great prices on BF Goodrich radios are going on every day of the year. Plus, if you're looking for wheels, they've got the largest selection of Western wheels, the clear choice of aluminum cast wheels made in America. So remember, Ken's Tire and Auto Service Center at 4601 South Penn is your kind of place to take your car or truck for great service and in the best in tire deals. See them today. We come back here to the Oklahoma City Speedway, and Gary, we get a little bit better picture of exactly what happened.
Well, Richard Summers had a rear end or something happened to his car. He doesn't know, either the rear end locked up, engine blew, or something, which caused the rear wheels just to lock up tight. And when you're doing 100, 110 miles an hour, and that happens. So luckily, he got up into the guardrail, but unfortunately for everybody behind him, they were right behind him, they just couldn't avoid him. Terry Doss flipped, trying to miss him, and then Brad Doty trying to miss the melee that resulted, ended up over the fence, and the car that was bent last night got bent even worse tonight. So it'll be a little bit of hard work for Brad and his crew in the days coming up.
Well, it's also going to be a little bit tougher for Shane Carson. He gave Rick Unger the rental ride tonight, and now his car ends up into a heap in turns 1 and 2. That's going to be tough. The mechanics going to have a little bit of work to do with the engine that went sour and went south on Shane Carson. And we see, we do see Rick Unger out there. So that is a bad scoop. I guess Rick is all right. He's obviously fine. He's out there getting set. We've got 1 lap to go. And they're starting to move the cars out one more time. They're getting the trophy. They're bringing it off over to Shane Carson and crew, who is over on the far side on the straight. A good shot there as you see the cars being pushed back out. This will be a very short race. It's going to be a quick trophy dash almost, and whoever wins is going to win the trophy and take home quite a bit of money.
World of Outlaw rules permits really almost anything that a team or crew can do during a red flag period. There are no limitations on what they can do. So it'll be interesting to see. For Ron Schumann, who's running second,